Hey, Jack. We haven't talked to you since Ron spoke to the team with the cancer diagnosis. I was just wondering what your approach is to potentially filling in there and what that would entail for you.
Well, the biggest thing, I mentioned to coach, whatever he needs, that I'm prepared to fully support him. So, we've spoken and discussed, the possibility of there being a need for me to step in, and I just assured him that, he's put together a good staff, and we kind of have our marching orders, and we know what's expected of us, and he can anticipate that we would carry on.
So if you were to do that, it'd be more about emulating Ron's approach than you being you and your style.
Yeah, and fortunately, we're pretty close, you know. So, but yeah, it's we in a lot of cases see things very similarly, and I understand what he wants. He's been great about communicating what he wants and what he's looking for, and so we would just carry on.
Appreciate it.
Hey Jack, now that you've been with this team for close to 6 weeks, what are some of the specific areas you think there can be kind of immediate improvement on from last season?
Well, I mean, we're just attacking it, and looking for improvement everywhere. And so, every aspect, everything we touch, we're trying to put our imprint on it. Make sure that the guys feel us, that we have energy every day, that we go attack our jobs every day, and try and get a little bit better in all three levels of our defense. In particular, for me, it's there's a need to grow, in the front, at the linebacker level, at the second level, and in the back end, and we're pushing them, and we're coming along. We're making strides. We still have a lot of work that we have to do, and so that's what we're doing, just pushing every day.
And then on the back end, you've got some guys starting to really miss some time here. Kendall Fuller's missed a bunch of practices. Are you still kind of in that training camp mode where it's take your time and get right? And when does that shift to we're focused on week one and need our guys out there?
Well, it's as week one approaches, it's always we need our best guys out there. That's never not been the case. So, I think we went through a camp. I think we were pretty productive in our camp. I think we looked to manage things the best that we could, um, and so we've just approached it that way where the guys that are able to go, and the guys that need to not go are not going, and the trainers obviously do a great job with that. RV does a tremendous job providing information each day for us to adjust our workloads on, and share the work where we can, and eliminate things if we need to. And so I think we've done a really good job of adapting to the situation as it develops.
Thanks, Jack.
But
Hey Jack, when we talked to Sam Mills a couple weeks ago, he said the D line feels the pressure to lead the defense. I'm wondering, the defense as a whole, was that an attitude that's kind of permeating as the offense is a little younger, a little more improvement? Do you feel like your group needs to set the tone here for the season?
Not really. I don't really look at it that way. I don't think the D line ought to, in particular, think they need to do anything other than do their job. So, for us, it's about developing a mentality, each guy understanding where he belongs and how it fits and how it ties together and how you impact your teammates, and you want to be a positive impact on your teammates. And so, I don't want us doing anything more than that. We don't need to try and do extra. We need to just do our job. And job number one for your defense is to not let the opponent score. And job number two is get the ball back for your offense as early as possible, as quick as possible. So, that's what we have to do. Limit points, get the ball back for our offense, and we're going to work hard to do that.
And then specifically, Troy Apke, someone who is a constant back there in the secondary. What have you seen from him in this third year? More physicality, more understanding of angles. How has he kind of locked down that spot next to Landon Collins?
Well, I think we'll talk about spots and what are locked down when the season starts and people see it for real. I think at this point, Troy has done a nice job. You can see he's gaining confidence every day. He is working hard at understanding our system and where he belongs in the system and getting his job done. And yeah, he's worked on all the fine points of playing that position. And I think, Rock has done a great job with the safety position, Chris Harris with the secondary overall, and us developing a confidence and an understanding of where we belong and where we need to show up for each other. So that's what we're working hard at. communication and understanding where we belong, how we're able to play with certain leverages in different defenses, and being able to do our job. And Troy's had a nice camp.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, Jack. Just wanted to kind of double down on the communication part that you just mentioned. When you came here in January, I think you mentioned it was easily identifiable how many problems on the back end there were with communication. Is that something that's a lot harder to tell because you haven't had any preseason games, or can you immediately tell between you and Chris and Coach Rogers back there that the communication amongst that group has definitely improved since what you saw on tape?
Yeah, and I don't want to refer backwards. Really, I don't see any benefit in that. I know we don't have a preseason to talk about, so we tend to want to go back and discuss last season. I would just say that our job is to make sure we understand how we fit together, where we all belong, what our responsibilities are, what we need to be seeing to get that job done, and make sure we're locked in, and we work with great focus. So, that's really been the approach, and we're making strides, and that'll be that's not like something I'm pushing for now that I won't be pushing for next week or the week after that. I'll be pushing for that every day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam Fournier with the Washington Post. I wonder how much you think your defense will be, or defenses across the NFL will be affected, obviously by a strange offseason, no preseason games. How much do you think that'll affect the defense, and in what ways do you think that'll change?
How much? I didn't understand the question. Say that again, please.
I wonder, because there are no preseason games, because of a strange offseason in general, I wonder how much you think the play of the defense early in the year, like in the early goings, do you think possibly they're, forward tackling, do you think that things could be different or affected on the defense in the early going?
Well, I mean, you're entering a little bit of the unknown, so that is kind of exciting. We'll see how it plays out. We're working every day, every rep we take in practice. We are looking to develop the skills necessary to get population around the ball and to tackle with the proper leverage. So we've been working at it. We don't get to actually go to the ground, but I don't believe that you have to actually go to the ground to understand and to teach and to develop how to get it done. So we're working hard at it. We'll see how well we did with our teaching when we start the season. But I anticipate we will tackle at a high level. I think if you want to play good defense, you have to tackle.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, Jack, John Kine, ESPN.
Hey, John.
How are you, Jack?
Good.
I'm curious with Ron, has there been a moment that stuck with you with something, because there's been so much he's had to deal with and go through since he's been here. Has there been a moment that stuck with you with how he handled it, and what, if so, what kind of jumped out at you in those moments about how he handled it?
No, I think you just look at Coach Rivera does a great job, I think, of being authentic. He communicates very directly with staff and players. So, to me, in this business, if you get it straight, whether you like the information or not, I think you can accept that as a man. And I think he's beginning to create that kind of culture here, and that's what we're looking to develop. We want our men to act like men and do the right things for the team. And that's been the basic message that he reinforces every chance he gets. And I don't suspect that would stop. So I love it. He's consistent. He's very, very straight talker, and I think we all appreciate that.
And because you've been in that job, you've had that role for many years before. How hard is that to be as a coach? Because again, so much stuff comes up, and sometimes it would be easy to let your guard down or to show a certain emotion. How hard is that to not do that, to be that?
I think we're all going to show emotions. We're people. That's normal. But I think, each guy has to be true to who he is, and I think Ron's very true to who he is.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hi, Jack. Brandon Walker with The Athletic. I'm just curious, what is this team going to get out of a guy like David Clark? He's somebody that you drafted when you were with the Raiders. What were your impressions of him when you all were together? What do you feel like he's going to contribute to this team now that he's here in Washington?
Well, that's going to be up to David. He's got a NFL tackle, offensive tackle body. He's a big man. He's been blessed. The good Lord gave him plenty of traits that you look for in an offensive lineman. So he's bounced a little in his short time in the league, and if he wants to stick, then the urgency and the application consistently of the things that he's capable of doing has to occur. So that's up to him, you know. And but he's got potential, and to me, this league is more about performance than potential, and so he's getting another opportunity at some point, you know. And he knows this. At some point, you know, you run out of those opportunities if you don't take advantage of them. So I suspect he will come in here and give us everything he has.
Speaking of potential taking advantage of opportunities, which young players do you feel like on defense really stood out to you during the phase 3 of training camp? Anybody in particular?
Well, I'm not going to do scouting for our opponents at this point. I hope you understand that. You know, there have been pleasant surprises throughout, and I'm looking forward to us getting onto the field and competing against our opponents.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Hey Jeff, it's Matt Ferris from the Washington Times. I was curious, since you went through this in Oakland and Ron's going through it now, what's the biggest difference in being a head coach the second time around, and how do you see Ron kind of adapt to that?
Well, I can't really speak for Ron, you know. Definitely have clarity the second time around. I think we all grow, you know, gain wisdom, and understanding of things that you did and things that you had success with. And, you know, when it comes to dealing with players, when it comes with scheduling, when it comes with dealing with your staff, when it comes with dealing with personnel, when it comes to dealing with the media. I mean, you know, there's so many different aspects that go into, you know, being a head coach. So I think your second time around, you're just a lot wiser. At least you have an opportunity to be.
And then, you know, you were in Jacksonville for a long time too, and then you had the stint in Oakland. I guess when you're at a place for a long time, the first time around, how is that beneficial as well?
Yeah, I think the experience is a positive one, and you know, you apply the things that you learned, and yeah, I mean it's a great job when you have it. It's a demanding job, and I think it's important that staff does everything it can. Staff and players does everything it can to be on the same page with the head coach and give him what he's looking for, and that's what we're looking to do here.
Hey Jack, Ben Standing with The Athletic. If I say a player had a quiet camp, that's maybe more on my interpretation or how questions we asked about a guy, but Cole Holcomb is somebody I don't think we really talked a lot about in camp, and maybe that's a reflection of what we saw on the field from him relative to others. What was your thoughts on him coming in, and kind of what's the next step for him as we get closer to the season?
Well, he's one of our young players. He's done well, had a good camp, and you know, I think he's like several of our young players. You know, we just want to develop him and have him continue to grow. So, you know, it's a competitive linebacker room that he's working in, and you know, we'll see as we work our way through it how it all shakes out.
And just to stick to that linebacker room, how many different, like, for you, like, as we get closer, like, the idea of mixing and matching the linebackers is something everybody kind of says they can do a lot of different combinations, but ultimately for you, you kind of have to have some sense of a couple of guys, I imagine, that you can really kind of rely on. Do you, whether you're going to reveal it or not, do you kind of in your own head at this point have a couple guys that you feel pretty good about play in, play out, or is it still even to that degree up in the air for you?
That's a well put question. You know, you're going to pull something out of me either way I answer it. So I think certainly with the group that we've worked with, I think we have a pretty good understanding of, you know, a likely way that we would go, and you know, we still have a little more time before we actually get there, and where we have really close battles that may continue to play out.
Hey Coach, Heather McDonough, NBC4. We've seen this team build the defense via the draft the last couple of years, obviously guys like Payne, Allen, now Chase Young. What can fans be excited about that you've seen during this camp, and now, you know, just 10 days to the season opener? What can fans see as the excitement building around this team? And it's clearly been a focus point. I mean, obviously it's your first year with the team, but it's clearly been a focus point to build the defense.
Right. Yeah. So I think the fans can be excited about us getting beyond potential and beginning to perform. And the way you perform is you play fast on defense and you tackle well. And so we're going to play fast. And guys are going to know what to do, and they're going to go there fast, and we're going to tackle when we get there. So those are the things that we're focused on, and that's what we're all about.